Visit us on the web at nilfisku.com. Nilfisk University is the cleaning equipment industry's most comprehensive web-based training and interactive learning resource. Your degree in success is just a click away at Nilfisk University.
Welcome to Nilfisk University, where excellence is obtained through active learning. Welcome to the Use and Care lesson for the Clark Focus 2 Rider. In this lesson, we'll be covering how to use and care for the machine. This course is not intended to replace the operator's manual that ships with the machine. Please read, understand, and follow all safety, maintenance, and operating instructions in the manual. Doing so will ensure years of safe operation and optimum performance from the machine. After completing this course, the learner shall be able to describe 3 items that need to be checked before operating the machine. Describe the proper way to fill the machine with water and detergent. List the steps necessary to start the scrubbing function, and understand each switch on the control panel when each one does. Be able to change the detergent ratio from one detergent strength to another. Be able to change the scrubbing performance of the machine. Describe the different ways to control the speed of the machine. List 2 items that need to be checked or inspected before storing the machine for the next user. Describe how to remove floor finish using nothing but plain water. And list 3 maintenance items that need to be checked weekly. Before one can start using the machine, it has to be prepared for use. When you walk up to the machine, it should look something like this, with the recovery tank lid open. The machine features a squeegee hanger on the rear of the machine so it can be hung up to dry after cleaning it. And it helps keep the squeegee off the floor to prevent trip hazards and props open the recovery tank lid so it can air dry, helping to prevent the formation of odor-causing bacteria. The machine should have been plugged in the night before, so now the battery should be fully charged. Whenever the machine is not being used, it should be connected to the charger to keep the batteries as fully charged as possible. The next step that should be done is to unplug the charger and the machine from the wall outlet and store the cord or connect the battery pack. Now we can move on to the recovery system inspection and preparation. There are a few things to inspect on the recovery system. First, check the rear blades of the squeegee and make sure they are ready for use and aren't torn or nicked. The machine features a 4-sided squeegee blade that has 4 working edges, so the blade can be flipped end for end and top to bottom to expose a fresh working edge, all without the use of tools. If all 4 edges are damaged, a new squeegee blade will be needed. Attach the squeegee to the machine with the 2 thumb nuts and attach the squeegee hose. Do not over-tighten the squeegee as it's designed to break away if it hits an object in your building. Now take a look at the recovery tank and verify it's completely empty. And while you're at it, inspect the debris catch cage and make sure it's empty. Last thing to do is to inspect the ball flow cage and make sure the ball moves freely and the flow cage is clean. Now that the recovery system is ready to go, let's look at the scrub system and prepare it for use. The next step is to inspect the pads or brushes. These should have been rinsed the last time the machine was used, so they should be relatively clean and free from any large debris. The best practice is to remove and clean the pads or brushes after the machine has been used and set them aside to dry. If the pads or brushes are still on the machine, remove the side skirts using the 2 black knobs, and remove the brush or pad from the machine and inspect them for debris and wear. Make sure there is enough brush or pad life for the scrubbing you are about to complete, and if not, replace them. And also make sure that you have the correct brush or pad type for the scrubbing that needs to be performed. Now let's install the pad drivers or brushes on the machine. Remove the side skirts using the black knobs. For boost machines, installing the pad is very easy. Simply slide the pad under the fixed pad driver, line it up with the pad driver, and then lift it up and press it onto the harpoon face to hold it in place. To remove the pad, simply push downward until it's free. Disc machines feature a fully gimbal brush system that simply snaps onto the gimbal of the machine. The hole in the brush mates up with the gimbal on the machine. Slide the brush under the machine and lift it up to the gimbal. If you rotate it slightly, you'll feel the pegs of the gimbal drop into the slots of the brush. Now push up on the brush to lock it in place. Sometimes it can be helpful to place your thumbs on top of the deck and squeeze it onto the gimbal. To remove the brush, simply push it downwards to the floor and it will detach. Do not drop the deck on the pad driver and use the brush motors to put on the pad driver. This can damage the pad drivers, requiring that they be replaced. While we have the side skirts off, inspect the blades for wear and damage. If they are worn or damaged, the blades can be flipped top to bottom to expose a fresh working edge. If both edges are damaged, they will need to be replaced. Now go ahead and install the side skirts. Now that we've taken care of the battery charger, the recovery system, and the scrub system, the last thing left is the solution system. Now we are ready to fill the machine with water. Open the solution fill port and fill the machine with clean, pure water. Hot or warm water cleans better, but the water temperature should not exceed 130 degrees Fahrenheit. If the machine is equipped with an onboard detergent system, fill the machine with pure water only. If an outboard detergent dilution system is used, like a wall mount station, fill the machine from this device. If bulk detergent is to be mixed in the tank, fill the machine 1/3 the way up with water, then add detergent and fill the machine all the way up. In all cases, fill the machine so the solution level is 2 to 3 inches below the fill port. The machine has a 31-gallon capacity. On machines with chemical mixing, fill the machine with clean water and then inspect the detergent bottle and verify the correct detergent is in the bottle and there's enough detergent to complete the scrubbing task at hand. At this point, the machine is prepared for use. Before we actually start using the machine, let's familiarize ourselves with the control panel. We'll take a look at each button and find out what each one does. The Focus 2 Rider features a logically arranged control panel to make training and use super simple. On the left-hand side are all the scrubbing functions, and on the right-hand side we've grouped together all the main transport functions. Let's take a look at each section in detail, and I'll describe how to run the machine. As I mentioned before, the left side of the machine features all the scrubbing functions grouped together in a logical arrangement. At the top you'll see the color-coded one-touch scrub button. It's color-coded to make the machine easy to use. Everyone knows green means go and red means stop. Next to it is the scrub pressure increase and decrease switches. These are used to change the scrub pressure from low to medium to high and back again. Below these is the solution flow rate switch. This is used to change between the 3 different solution flow rates and turn solution off. Pressing the switch will change the flow rate from low to medium to high and then off. Pressing it again will turn the solution back on to its low position. Next is the vacuum on-off switch, which, as you may guess, is used to turn the vacuum motor both on and off. The last switch is the Clark chemical mixing switch. If the machine is equipped with the Clark chemical mixing system, this switch turns the chemical on and off and adjusts the chemical dilution ratio. We'll cover its operation in more detail later. Now let's turn our attention to the right-hand side of the panel, where the transport functions are located. At the bottom is the key switch, which is the main power switch that turns the machine on and off. Next to it is the reverse switch that changes the machine's direction. Above that is the rabbit turtle speed increase and decrease switches that control the maximum speed of the machine while both in scrubbing and in transport mode. The horn switch beeps the horn. And lastly is the graphical display area. This area is used to show the current detergent dilution setting, the condition of the battery, the rabbit turtle speed setting, the hour meter, and any error codes that were detected by the machine. Now that we have a general understanding of the control panel, let's look at how we actually use the machine. The first thing we need to do is transport the machine to the area to be cleaned. The machine features a safety seat switch, so you have to be on the machine first. Now turn on the key to power up the machine. When the key is turned on, the first thing to look at is the graphical display. Some of the key items to note are the level of the battery, so you can determine if there's enough battery power to complete the scrubbing task. Next, verify the maximum speed setting at the bottom. You'll also be able to check the hour meter and if there are any error codes on the machine. The machine features a unidirectional foot pedal. Pressing the foot pedal will propel the machine forward. The speed of the machine in transport mode is controlled by the foot pedal. The farther the pedal is pressed, the faster the machine will move, just like a car. The rabbit turtle switch, however, controls the machine's maximum speed. Think of it as a cruise control, just like in your car. To go in reverse, press the reverse switch on the dash. The backup alarm will begin to sound. The speed in reverse is controlled just like it is going forward. Now the machine can be transported to the area that needs to be cleaned. Now that we've transported the machine to the area to be cleaned, it's time to start cleaning. The machine features one-touch scrubbing. Pressing a single button both starts and stops the scrubbing function. The best practice when scrubbing a floor is to press the one-touch scrub button while the machine is in motion slightly. This will help prevent any damage to the floor. To start scrubbing, press the one-touch scrub button. The deck will lower to the floor, the brushes will begin to spin, and water will begin to flow. And also the vacuum motor will turn on. The best practice is to scrub the outside edge of the location first, going in a counterclockwise direction, using the right-hand side of the deck to edge clean. Once that is completed, the rest of the floor can be cleaned. When scrubbing, the machine's speed is controlled in two different ways. First is via the foot pedal that we've already talked about. The second is via the Rabbit Turtle control switch on the dashboard. This sets the maximum scrub speed of the machine. There are 5 speed settings. Pressing the Rabbit button will increase the maximum scrub speed, and pressing the Turtle button will decrease the maximum scrub speed. To pause scrubbing, simply remove your foot from the foot pedal. Forward motion will stop, the brushes will stop, and the water will stop flowing. The vacuum will remain on to prevent dirty water from dripping back onto your just clean floor. To stop scrubbing, press the one-touch scrub button. Doing this will cause the deck to raise up from the floor, the water will stop, and the vacuum will stop after a 10-second delay to prevent dirty water from dripping back to the floor. The best practice when stopping scrubbing is to keep the vacuum on as long as possible, and this keeps the floor clean. The pad, which is soaked with dirty water, will continue to drip water for a very long time. In this case, after the one-touch scrub button is pressed, press the vacuum on-off button. This will keep the squeegee down and the vacuum on. Some will even keep the vacuum on all the way back to the janitor's closet to keep that dirty water off the just clean floor. Now that covers the basics on how to use the machine. Now let's look at some of the more advanced scrubbing functions and how to use them. First is the pressure increase and decrease switches. This changes the scrub pressure or scrubbing power between low, medium, and high. Always use the least amount of pressure necessary to get the job done. Well, why is that? Well, that's because extra pressure will reduce the machine's runtime, is harder on the floor's finish, and will wear out the brushes or pads faster. Next is the solution control switch. This is used to change the solution flow rate. When encountering heavily soiled floors, more water may be needed. The best practice is to use the least amount of water possible. This will increase the amount of square footage that can be cleaned in a single tank of water, lowering your overall cost to clean. It will also save cost because less detergent will be used to clean the same amount of area. Plus, it lets you do your part to help save the environment. Using less chemical means less chemical will be introduced into the environment. Pressing the solution switch will change the flow rate from medium to high, and then to off, and then back again. Lastly is the vacuum on-off switch. For extremely dirty floors, double scrubbing may be required. To double scrub, turn off the vacuum motor and scrub the area a few times going back and forth. If more scrubbing is needed, but there's plenty of water and detergent, turn the water off temporarily. Once the area is clean, turn the vacuum back on and pick up all the remaining water from the floor. Now we'll cover the last more advanced scrubbing feature, Clark's Chemical Mixing System. If the machine is equipped with Clark's Chemical Mixing System, the chemical mixing dilution switch will be active. This switch is used to turn chemical mixing on and off and adjust the dilution ratio. Turning chemical off engages the chemical-free cleaning mode. This is the most cost-effective and most environmentally responsible cleaning mode there is. There are 9 chemical dilution ratio settings ranging from the weakest at 400:1 to the strongest at 32:1. Chemical ratio is displayed in 2 ways on the graphical display, a coarse setting and a finer setting. The coarse setting is indicated by an up arrow that points to a color zone indicating the strength of the chemical used. This is set up the same way as other Clark scrubbers, with the green zone representing approximately ½ ounce per gallon, blue 1 ounce per gallon, yellow approximates 2 ounces per gallon, and red being about 3 ounces per gallon. Pressing the chemical button moves the arrow through the color zones or dilution ratios and then to off. There are finer settings within each color zone to fine-tune the chemical ratio if desired. This is shown as a ratio in the graphical display. Pressing the chemical switch toggles through these available ratios. Each color zone will have about 2 to 3 more specific ratios associated within a certain color zone. After using the machine for a while, you will encounter one of 2 situations. The first is that the solution tank has run empty and the recovery tank has become full, but more area still needs to be cleaned. You will know this by a change in pitch in the vacuum motor as the ball gets sucked up into the ball float cage. When this happens, transport the machine to a suitable dump and refill location, empty the recovery tank and the debris catch cage, and refill the machine as we learned about earlier. The other thing that may happen eventually is that the batteries have become depleted and the machine needs to be recharged. In this case, the battery gauge in the graphical display will indicate the batteries have become depleted. The machine features a low voltage cutoff to protect the batteries from damage. What this means is that eventually the scrub function will stop when the machine runs out of battery power. The machine will stop scrubbing at this point, but the transport function will not. This means you will always have enough battery power to transport the machine to a dump and refill and charging area, and it will not become stranded in the facility. Now let's look at how we need to prepare the machine for storage so it's ready to go when it's needed again. We are now ready to prepare the machine for storage until it's needed again. The first thing to do is to take care of the recovery system. Empty and rinse the dirty water recovery tank, empty and rinse the debris catch cage, and clean up the ball float valve assembly. Leave the recovery tank lid open to air dry and reduce the formation of odor-causing bacteria. Then remove and rinse off the squeegee and inspect it to see if the blades need to be flipped or replaced. If they do it now. It's a good idea to place the rear squeegee on the rear squeegee hanger instead of installing it on the machine. Next, we'll take care of the scrub system, remove the pads or brushes and rinse them off and inspect them. If they need to be replaced, replace them now. If not, set them aside to dry. The solution system is next. If the machine is equipped with a chemical mixing system and pure water alone is used in the solution tank, nothing needs to be done. If chemicals are in the tank, it's a good idea to drain the solution tank. You can use either the solution drain hose or position the machine over a floor drain and drain the tank through the front solution filter. Then the last thing to do is to plug the machine in and recharge the battery so it's ready to go the next time the machine needs to be used. That covers how to use the machine for daily scrubbing. We've learned how to prepare the machine for use, transport it to the area to be cleaned, operate the machine using the control panel. We've learned how to empty and refill it, and how to prepare the machine for storage. Not only is the Focus 2 Rider a great daily cleaning machine, but with Boost technology you can also use the machine to remove floor finish without the use of chemicals. Let's cover that now. Clark's Boost technology not only makes it a great machine for daily cleaning, but it can also be used to remove floor finish without chemicals with fantastic results. We'll just follow a few easy steps. If the machine is equipped with a chemical mixing system, turn chemical off. If chemicals are already mixed in the tank, go ahead and use what's left, and when the tank needs to be refilled, let's just fill it with plain water. Now we can prepare the scrub system. Start by installing a new red pad on the machine. Next, install the optional double-sided Velcro sheet under the red pad. While the double-sided Velcro sheet is not required, most every customer does use it. The purpose of the double-sided Velcro is that it attaches and holds the maroon pad to the red pad. If it's not used, every time the deck is lifted, the maroon pad will stay on the floor and you'll have to get off the machine and remove it, or you'll run over it. Once the double-sided Velcro is in place, we can use it to attach the maroon SPP pad to the machine. The maroon SPP pad or surface prep pad coupled with Boost technology is what makes floor finish removal possible. Never attach the maroon SPP pad directly to the fixed pad driver. This will destroy the pad driver in short order and will require replacement. Now we can transport the machine to the area to be used and set up the machine to remove floor finish. After we have transported the machine to the desired area, we can set up the machine for the floor finish removal process. Press the one-touch scrub button to lower the deck, and engage the highest scrub pressure available on the machine. Turn water down to low, and set the speed to its slowest speed. Now propel the machine forward to start the process. It's difficult to say how much area could be covered before the pad has to be flipped over. This is due to the floor finish, how fast the machine is moving, and the desired results. When the pad no longer cuts into the floor finish and the results diminish, flip the pad over and use the other side. The effectiveness of the pad diminishes due to its losing its abrasiveness and due to loading of floor finish in the pad. The pad can be rinsed, but don't expect it to last very long. Now we'll take a moment to cover battery maintenance. Batteries are the most expensive wear item on machines, and improper maintenance will lead to premature failure and expensive replacement. There are two primary rules for both wet and maintenance-free AGM batteries. First is that batteries like to be in a charged state and hate to be in a discharged state. Batteries that sit in a discharged or semi-charged state will fail prematurely. Always keep the batteries as charged as possible. That means using the onboard charger to opportunity charge them over breaks, over lunches, etc. It's an old wives' tale that every time the charger is plugged in, it consumes a cycle from the batteries. If 10% of the battery is used and recharged, you can do this 10 times and that would equal a full cycle. The second rule is that machine absolutely must be charged overnight every night. The smart charger will never damage the batteries from overcharging. If the batteries aren't charged like this, they will never get fully charged and they will always be in a discharged state. Keep the tops of the batteries and the posts clean. Never add distilled water to a battery that needs to be charged unless the plates are exposed. If the plates are exposed, add just enough water to cover the plates and then fully charge the machine, and then add water just to the bottom of the fill tube. Do not overfill the batteries. Once every few months is a good idea to equalize the battery pack. Do this by fully charging the machine, then unplug the charger for a minute or so, and then plug it back in and let it cycle through this. Do this one more time, and the battery pack should be fully equalized. Let's take a look at other maintenance items and when they need to be performed. Here's the page right from the service manual. Every day the battery should be fully charged. The squeegee should be cleaned, the brushes or pads should be cleaned, and the recovery tank should be cleaned, including the debris catch cage. Weekly, clean the chemical mixing system if so equipped. Also the solution filter, check the squeegee blades, and clean the vacuum motor filter and check the water level in the batteries. Every 6 months and in the first 8 hours of use, check to make sure all the fasteners are tight, check the blade, and check the brake located behind the drive motor. Annually, it's recommended to check or replace the carbon brushes in the brush motor, vacuum motor, and drive motor. On boost machines, inspect and replace isolators as required. By following this maintenance schedule, you'll be assured of years of optimal performance from the machine. Let's review the course outcomes before we proceed on to the quiz. Describe 3 items that should be inspected before operating the machine. Describe how to fill the machine with water and detergent. List the steps necessary to start the scrubbing function. Identify each item on the control panel and describe what it does. Understand how to change to different dilution ratios. Be able to change the scrubbing performance of the machine. Describe how to change the speed of the machine. List 2 items to be inspected and cleaned before storing the machine. Describe how to remove floor finish using nothing but plain water. And list 3 or more maintenance items to be checked weekly.
Visit us on the web at nilfisku.com. Nilfisk University is the cleaning equipment industry's most comprehensive web-based training and interactive learning resource. Your degree in success is just a click away at Nilfisk University.